As we move into chapter 3, we're now to the point where we're able to develop a plan for handling our electronic communication, which in this case is going to be predominantly emails. So we're going to go back to the same thing that we ran through in modules 2 and 3, that we really need to establish what it is we're trying to resolve. And that means we need to know what it is. What is the issue? Secondly, how quickly do you need to resolve it by? What are the parameters that you need to fit within to make that response something that actually resolves issues? And then the second part about it, which we just talked about in the historical side, is we really don't have this need to rush into responding the second an email shows up in our inbox. Instead of that, what we're better off doing is responding to the communication in the way it needs to and determining its priority. And we're going to get into this in just a moment, but there's a certain set of rules that we're going to be able to follow to allow us to do that as part of our everyday workflow. So as we look at emails as not something that you do all day long, it's a task that needs to be done several times a day. You begin to become more productive in the way you're responding to your emails and the similar types of communications. So we're going to go ahead, as a general rule, we've established the 24-hour rule, which basically says you need to respond within 24 hours to any email that's been sent to you. Now, when we use the word respond, there's two aspects of that. Respond would be that, oh yes, I have an answer for you. The answer is this, and these are the parameters we need to follow, and there we are. If it's an issue that we've determined its priority is such that it's going to take some work to respond to it, then we reply. So you need to always question, do I respond or reply? And if you're replying, what you're basically doing is sending them a letter back confirming that you got their communication, that you are working on it, and then if you can, give them a general idea of how many days it's going to take for you to be able to resolve that issue and respond back to them. So it could be very simply as a very simple thing such as, we have received your email and are currently working on it. Due to the complexity of the issue, it's going to take us a certain amount of time to do this, so we will respond back to you within 3 business days or 5 business days, whatever you think that is. But at least that way you've given the person who sent you the email a confirmation that you are involved with it and that you are going to respond to it as quickly as you can. So now that's the first rule. That's what we call the 24-hour rule. You either respond or reply within 24 hours. Now the second thing is once you walk in the morning and you open up your emails, the recommended schedule that we really wish we'd like for you to try it, because it really works well for a lot of people, is that it's the 2-minute rule. So if you're going through your emails and you're looking through it and there's 12 emails in there or 20 emails, look down the list, kind of look through it, peruse it, and if there's anything that you can respond in less than 2 minutes, go ahead and do it. Just click that thing, open it, do your response, and then send it back. But if it's going to take you more than a couple of minutes to do it, leave them in your inbox, and then we'll go in and determine the priorities necessary to resolve those issues. So basically, if we go back to that, we're saying you have a 24-hour rule to either respond or reply. And if you can, when you're reviewing your emails, apply the 2-minute rule if you can, so that you can just kind of clean out the easy stuff and then keep focused on those items that are really important for you to manage at that time. So for emails which require some research or follow-up, you need to, at that same exact time when you open those emails up in the morning, establish priorities as to the work ahead of you. So you may look in there and you got 2 really tough emails in there that are big issues that are kind of plaguing you. And so establish those priorities. Those are very important priorities, but they're taking much longer than you wish they would, or it takes a lot more work to respond to. So that would be one type of priority. Another priority is you just haven't gotten the information back from the vendors or whoever it may be, so you really can't respond until you get a response back. So basically, by establishing your priorities, you're developing a work plan for the electronic emails that are for all your communication, basically. And as your workday unfolds, the emails that you have in your inbox are going to pretty much establish what you need to do for that day. For instance, if I got 15 emails and 3 or 4 of them are 2-minute rules, so I can get rid of those, and then I have the remainder, and I see that there's 4 of them that I can't respond to until I get a response back from my vendors. At that point, it may be that the right answer for you is to go back and send emails to all your vendors saying, guys, I need the information, and if I can't get it in the next day or 2, we got some problems. So that way, then when you reply to your emails, you can do it saying we have contacted our vendors and they're in the process, and they assure us that by so-and-so date. So basically, you're working the emails. You're not just kind of, oh, here it comes, I'm going to answer it. Decide how you need to do it, and then you start knocking out the matters at hand with an email back to the person who actually initiated that first email. So these are basic rules that if you follow, it makes your life so much easier and you're going to be much more productive. Now, different people have different preferences, but we've already established that in the morning you should check your emails as one of the first things you do in the day. Generally around lunch, either before or after, that's your own personal preference, check your emails again. Now, don't check them in between. Once you check them in the morning, let it lie. And then when you go off to lunch or you get back from lunch, check where your emails are again. And then again, apply the 2-minute rule. You may find that 4 or 5 of them you knock right out in the 2-minute rule, be done with it. So 10 minutes later, you've drained your inbox to some degree. And then the third thing that we recommend is at the end of the day, you allot enough time to check your emails one more time. And this is really the most important part. Mornings are important in the fact that you got a fresh mind and you're ready to go after it. But the evenings are also very productive in that you can look and, at least establish what you think your plan is going to be for the next day. And surprisingly enough, if you've ever been to time management classes, the simple fact that you actually go through it before you leave your office in the evening, and you've developed a plan for that, and you know what that plan is, your stress levels are going to go down considerably. And what they found was if you actually write something down for yourself to remember, then your mind is not holding it up here for that period of time. It knows your mind is assured that, I have a list, I can go back and then I can work on it. So it can forget about it for the evening, and you'll enjoy your evenings with your families a lot more by just simply doing that one thing. Just kind of understand where you need to do for tomorrow morning. Your day's already planned out. Then go home and enjoy yourself, and the next morning you open your emails up just as we did the day before. So to recap that, we're basically saying, you have a 24-hour rule in which to respond or reply. The 2-minute rule applies to when you check your emails, and that essentially you're going to check your emails only 3 times a day. And we're going to show you some stats here in a moment that have been studied quite significantly, and they show that we're wasting our time so much in checking our emails. And by leaving up your Outlook or Gmail or whatever it may be, up on your screen all day long, you're consistently distracting yourself every time you look at that screen. And every time you distract yourself, it takes a good 4 to 5 minutes to get back onto the task you were doing before you got there. So you need to really look at that as this is really a time saver for you guys. It's going to reduce your stress levels. It's going to increase your performance, and the amount of time it's going to take you to do it is going to be significantly less. So let's not waste time checking emails all day long. Let's check them 3 times a day. So that's essentially the plan that we need to start following in regards to our electronic communication and more specifically emails. So we're going to move into chapter 4 at this point, and we'll look at that as how we summarize this overall process.